Hey everybody, thought I'd do a real quick, well, hopefully it's quick, example of how I do a short trade. This is on Loom. I just posted this in my Twitter. Let me bring that over here. Just want to show you what my thought process is first. Okay, hopefully this is showing up. Let me make sure that's sharing correctly. Yeah. All right, so Loom up 6x since mid-December or September, starting to get overheated. No clear divergences yet, even on 15-minute charts. Close back below the triangle would signal reversal. So currently it's above that triangle on a daily chart, I believe. Yeah, daily. And so a close back below, and especially if it closed below the bottom line, that would signal a reversal. And then if you look closer, this is what you'd want to see on Market Cipher or Vu Manchu. And I'll show you, if you don't have Market Cipher, if you don't want to pay for it, I'll show you the Vu Manchu indicator. This would be on a 15-minute chart for a short signal, or you could use a simple 1221 EMA crossover to downside. So this, I kind of drew this right here where, see how these red dots happen when things get overheated, and then it creates a divergence right there. And it did cause this to come down a little bit, but it wasn't a big one. You can see on this 15-minute chart that money flow is starting to taper off a little bit to the downside. We'll just have to see if that keeps happening. I mean, it's not to say this thing couldn't keep going up, but once you get 5 or 6x in less than a month, you would suspect that it was going to slow down a little bit. And so I'm looking for something like this for a bearish divergence while it was going up. Momentum's coming down. We've talked about that a lot. So currently, well, let me start back on the daily chart here. Probably gonna have to remove a lot of this stuff. All right, so currently, let's just review on the daily chart what made this such a good trade. And I didn't take the long. I wish I had. There's just so many coins to watch. I don't watch longs as much as I do shorts, because the thing is, once shorts hit a certain percentage, whether it's 500%, 600%, maybe even 100% over a day, you can look at them because they're volatile and look for a short much easier than you can find a long. That's the way I see it anyway. So on a very, from a very simple mindset, you got a 12 EMA right here, this yellow line, you got a 21 on this blue line. And as long as everything stays above these two, they crossed up, you got to cross up of the 12 above the 21. That's a long signal. And you can see here, this is Crypto Engineer. And I don't use these very often. Sometimes I do, just to give me confirmation. I mean, you could easily just use the 1221, and it's free to use, obviously. You just type in EMA, and it's moving average exponential here. And so as long as this is crossed up and it hasn't crossed back down, you can stay in your long on the daily chart, but just realize that it may have to come way down here before a crossover happens. So it doesn't really, on a daily chart, you could take a long there, but if you're looking for your exit, it might be better to go down to like a 3-hour chart. So daily and 3-hour kind of work together pretty well. So this is a rising wedge. It got above the rising wedge. I'm looking for it probably to stay under this purple dotted line up here. If it gets above that, I'm not interested in it anymore until it gets further down, because it could just take off. But right now it's at a major resistance area. And so what you'd be looking for if you were just playing these lines is you would want to see it close a candle back above this dotted line here on this triangle and stay below that. And if it came down and then it got back above it with a candle, then you probably wouldn't want to mess with it. But I would say if a candle gets back below this, a full candle, it's probably coming down further, at least to this line. Yeah, so the 1221, you can use it here on the 3-hour as well. You can see on the shorter time frames that the 1221 will fake you out more often. I mean, you could have taken the trade down here back in mid-September. The yellow line finally crossed back down here. You could have went ahead and taken your profit and waited till it crossed back up. I mean, you can do that too, as it goes up. Here's a lot of sideways action. And then finally you get another cross up, but it still hasn't crossed back down on the 3-hour chart. So on your exits on a long position, I would look at your 3-hour chart personally. Money flow is still pretty thick here. It could go higher if it wanted to. I think it does need a rest currently. I mean, if you go back down here to the 15-minute chart, which I would only recommend this if you're experienced. The 15-minute chart is showing that, there is a red dot here signaling that there could be some downside soon. I actually drew this triangle, this shorter time frame triangle on a 5-minute chart right here. And it's showing a little bit of weakness right now. These 1221 are, they're starting to get a little bit tighter. And it seems like these candles are wanting to close below this bottom of the triangle here. I wouldn't say there's a full candle close below just yet. It's kind of holding this 12 line currently, but you did get a little bit of a weakness here. It came down to this 21 line and, bounced right off of it. So another candle close below 12, I would imagine on this 5-minute chart, you're going to start to see some rollover. But again, you really need to be experienced to be doing like a 5-minute or even a 15-minute chart. And on the 15, you can see that a candle, let's see, we've got 4 minutes left on the 15-minute candle. It's clearly wanting to close below this line, it seems like, but you'd have to wait till this 4 minutes was up to really know. 1221, it's still signaling that a long is fine here. So that's what I was talking about in my Twitter post. There's really no, what did I say here? Well, I was saying this is what you'd want to see because there's really no short signal just yet. I like to see these divergences when price is going up, momentum's coming down, and you feel better about a short in that position. A good example, I've made a lot of posts like this lately. I mean, maybe some of y'all have been following my Twitter, maybe you haven't, but you can go at Bike for Sale, just like that. Astra was a real good example. Prior to it happening, I was showing how this rising wedge was forming, and it was something to watch over the next couple of days for a short. And so a candle closed below this purple line right here, that 0059 was a signal to go short. And you could see momentum was coming down, money flow was coming down while price was going up. And then this was the result where you got a perfect rejection right here on that bottom line. And then you got a 30% drop right after that. So if you had a 10x trade that you were doing, you would have made 300% on that trade right there. So if that was $100, what would that be? You'd have made 300. And then I was saying you could alternatively use the 1221 EMA instead of drawing these lines and everything. And that image is right here. See how it crossed right there? You could have taken your trade somewhere in here, which would have been pretty much the same thing as this thing rejecting here. So, these two methods work. I just want you to know that. So yeah, this is what I'm watching for. These moves don't take place immediately. You have to be patient with them and watch. I am currently in the trade. But again, I'll probably stay in this short unless it gets a full candle above this dotted line up here, which is at 26.3. And what you can do, let me show you Fu Manchu real quick. So this is the free version. It's called Fu Manchu Cipher B plus, this is the right one, plus divergences. So this is similar to Market Cipher, except it's a free version. I don't like it as much. I mean, you can change the colors. I mean, that's all I did here, as my colors are different. So this one right here, the gray one, is Market Cipher. And this one here is Fu Manchu right below it. And you can go in here and, change any of the settings that you want to make it look however you want. I mean, clearly the momentum waves, which are these blue waves with the red and green dots, clearly they are, almost exactly the same. You can see it's almost identical. The problem with Fu Manchu is the money flow, which is this red or the green. You can't see it near as well as you can see it on Market Cipher. Market Cipher is expensive. I bought it a long time ago, back during the main bull run. But, and I'm not trying to sell it to anybody, obviously. That's why I'm showing Fu Manchu. But just, just be aware that's the main difference between the two. That's the only thing that people don't really like about Fu Manchu is the money flow doesn't show as well. I think that's about all I wanted to show. I mean, I'd like to be able to sit here and just say, I mean, we could go down to a minute chart and I could show you, what I'm seeing on a minute chart just in real time. And it doesn't really help you much because, I mean, even I don't want to trade on a minute chart. It's crazy. You can get faked out so much. But you can clearly see if we're talking about just in general what you want to look for on a short or a long. I mean, we can talk about a long too, but you want to see these lower. So you kind of have price going up here. And at the same time, you'll see this in a lot of my posts. At the same time, you have momentum coming down. Whoops. So you got red dot, red dot, red dot. And then price is slowly going up. Usually it's going up much quicker than this. And you want to see those momentum waves. And if you also see money flow coming down at the same time, tapering down, then you feel pretty good about that. And currently we have candles closing below this trend line that I drew, which I can kind of tighten up here. Yeah. What I do is I try to take sometimes I take the wick, sometimes I take the candle body. That just depends on what I'm seeing. Yeah, so it looks something like that. I could probably even make it tighter than that. And you did get a rejection right there, roughly in that area. If we pull up the EMAs, you got to cross down. It's kind of hard to see it. Okay. So if we zoom in, you're in your long, kind of crossed over there, but you probably stayed in. And then finally it crossed down somewhere in here. And it almost coincided with the rejection of that line. So we'll have to see. I mean, it's still pushing up, right? It doesn't mean that it's just going to roll over here. And one thing I want to make clear is the lower you go down, it becomes more and more of a combination of the higher time frames. And what I mean by that is, let's take the 1 minute compared to maybe the 15 minute. To get a full 15-minute candle, I'd have to add 15 of these candles, 1 minute each times 15 equals 15 minutes. So if we look at one, yeah, it's about from here somewhere. So add all these together, and that becomes, and it's probably a combination of these two candles because this one hasn't closed yet. But anyway, you get the idea. 15 1-minute candles equals one 15-minute candle. And if you go to an hour, you'd say 4. Yeah, I had to do my math, make sure I wasn't dumb. 4 of the 15-minute candles equals an hour. And so all 4 of these equals, well, this one still has 30 minutes left, but if you take from, what would that be? 12 o'clock. Yeah, 12 o'clock. You would just go here and go back until you find 12 o'clock. So right there, yeah, this candle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 candles equals this candle that's already closed. This one still hasn't closed yet. I've got a timer here that's got about 30 minutes left on this 1 hour candle. So hopefully that makes sense to you. This 15-minute candle, it does look like it's probably going to get this one to close beneath this line. These trend lines aren't 100%. I'll give you some percentages. I would say on a 3-hour chart, as an example, a 1221 EMA crossover is about 75% accurate. If you are interested in one of these indicators, like here, I'll just show you. And again, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to show you a couple different indicators in case you are looking for something. This market Cipher one, it's got a buy for and a moon signal. You use 2 signals to give you your true buy signal. And so you would have bought here and you wait for 2 sell signals to sell, and there's not 2 sell signals yet. I'll give you an example of two sell signals here. So if you would have bought here with two buy signals, here's two sell signals. And then you got your two buy signals again. So you could have gotten out to be safe and then gotten right back in. This isn't two sell signals, it's just one. That's not two buy signals, it's just one. You would have stayed in because you got your two buy signals here. And then finally, you got two sell signals here. But that was kind of a fake out. It found support, two buy signals again, and there's still not two sell signals yet. A lot of these different ones can work for you. I would say just use one or two of them as confirmation. I mean, you can see momentum coming down here, and that's why this happened. It was coming up here, and it finally got enough of the buyers were exhausted here. Sellers stepped in, brought it down for a little bit. Buyers came back in. One of the best things you can do is learn how to find market structure. So you had a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And you still had a higher high here and a higher low. This ended up being a lower low from this one. But market structure doesn't always say, give you a guarantee that you should go heavy short, because you still got a higher high right there. If you go down to a 15-minute chart, let me get rid of a lot of this stuff because it's going to be ugly. This is where you could have caught those moves a lot quicker with market structure. And this is a much longer video that I would have to do to show you this, but you had your higher highs here. Here's a higher low from this one. Higher low, higher high. This was a lower low. Well, actually it wasn't. It was pretty close. You didn't have a full candle close below this, but you did get a lower high right there. This was finally your lower low from these, but you were getting a lot of lower highs during that time. So if you were just using market structure, you could have taken a trade somewhere in here, but again, it found support pretty quickly. But here's your higher high from this one, and this was your signal to go long. And see, your 1221 had already given you that signal, but the problem with the 1221 is it can go sideways a lot and fake you out. There wasn't really a fake out here. Now, of course, it's a bad example. I don't know that I'd use a 1221 on a 15-minute chart, maybe. It's better to use on like a 3-hour chart. So again, you're staying in all this way. Maybe you get out right here because it crossed down, cross back up, you're back in, cross down, you're out, cross back up, you're in. And here's kind of an example of where it can fake you out a bit. I mean, if you were looking at this right here, look how they're just kind of sitting on each other. You probably wouldn't have gotten out yet. Right there, you would have gotten out somewhere in there. And it wouldn't have been bad. You could have gotten a good short out of it, but then you cross back up. It stayed above, and you're still above. So, you still wouldn't have taken a short just yet on a 3-hour chart. And for a lot of people, they're busy and they can't trade on a 15-minute chart. They're at work or whatever. Anyway, I hope that helps. I'd like to be able to sit here and just say, sit here for an hour and show you how it plays out, but it would just take too long. The video would be too long. Nobody wants to sit here and watch that. So just kind of watch this. In fact, I'll share. I'm going to copy the link here and go to my Twitter. And I'll just post the shared chart here. And you can watch along if you want. If you're wanting to trade this based on what we just talked about. It's still kind of pushing up. I mean, there's no guarantee that it's going to just roll over here. Yeah, it's a pretty big candle there. But again, the 12's sort of rolling over. And as soon as you get that 12 cross below the 21, might be time to get out. I mean, there's other EMAs you can use. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got a 7. I've been using a 714, which is kind of a scalping EMA to use. If we were to look at a true 1221, it looks roughly the same, but it seems to be holding that 12 line currently. So just remember the numbers on the EMA, whatever you type in, are the averages. So it's the average, like if you're using a 12 over a 21, it's the average of the last 12 candles on whatever chart you're looking at versus the last 21 candles of whatever chart you're looking at. So it adjusts whether you're on the 15-minute or the 3-hour or whatever. Yeah, we may just come up here. I mean, I've seen it before many times. You may just see something like this on the 15-minute or the 5. Yeah, it's better to look at the 5-minute chart here, I think, because it's got a lot more recent action. But you may see something, I don't know, it could even come up to here, and then finally you get your move back down. So what happens is it breaks the support of the uptrend, and then it comes back up and it retests it. Looks like there's a lot of shorts up here that had bids ready to go. Or not bids, but puts. Yeah, this on this 5-minute, this is what you want to see. You want to see this money flow getting real tight to this line right here on Market Cipher. That's about where the overheat area is for the money flow. Doesn't really look like that on 15-minute yet, no. Yeah, so just kind of watch my Twitter. I'll post some updates as I see them. I'm at work right now, so yeah, I may not be able to post them right when something happens, but as soon as I see something, I'll let you know. All right, y'all post your questions in the comment section. Hit the like button if you want. And, I don't do these videos very often because I post most of these trades on my Twitter, but I try to do a little summary every once in a while if I can to help people learn how I do it. You can be very successful at this, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. So be prepared to put in at least an hour or two per day if you want to get better at this. And I'm not the best. I'm just, passing on the knowledge that I've learned. Okay. Well, y'all have a good day, and I'll try to do another one soon. Thanks.